Well, a very good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Your Manchester with me, Miss Belinda and
me, Mr. Mark Llewellyn.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very, very good indeed.
It's bank holiday.
Bank holiday
And here
Monday.
we are, slaving away.
Working hard.
Yes, we are.
What's on the show tonight?
We shall be talking to James Barr. You know him? Yes.
And we've also got a very, very unique exclusive, everybody.
A big
We've managed to pin him down.
exclusive.
We've managed to find out all the answers we needed. We're talking about Derren Litten. He literally answers the question about if Benidorm is returning to the screens. So we are giddy about that.
We certainly are. Stay tuned.
Well, everybody, I'm sure you're fully aware that there's a lot of hype at the moment about the possible, maybe, return of one of the most successful, popular, and quite fabulous ITV programmes.
Well, yes, 10 series, over 70 episodes, stage show. I mean, it's much missed.
It is much missed. One man can answer a lot of questions because he's the creator of said programme. Of course, we're referring to Benidorm. And joining us now, down the line, from Benidorm itself, is Mr. Derren Litten. Welcome to the show, Derren.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, we should say that background isn't necessarily Benidorm, or is it?
Well, I'm not actually in Benidorm, so it's quite fitting. I'm about 10 minutes up the road in a fast taxi.
Right. Looks like you sat on a roundabout somewhere, love.
Well, at this point, I don't mind, to be honest. I'm happy to be anywhere.
Listen, let's get straight to this. Are you writing anything at the moment? And if so, are you writing for anything for ITV?
Well, how can I put this? I am. I think what you want to ask me is there going to be another series of Benidorm?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Is there going to be another series of Benidorm?
The truthful answer is I don't know, but that's better than no, isn't it? I think
That's a lot better than no.
Yes.
So have you been approached to write it?
Do you know, I've been approached, and do you know, I haven't told anybody else this, so this is your, I mean, it's not a thrilling exclusive, but it's about as thrilling as my day's getting today. I have been approached by ITV, asking if I'd like to, what my thoughts are on doing something with Benidorm. That was the phrase, doing something with Benidorm.
Right.
And so I must tell you that this happened 4 years ago as well.
Right.
And nothing came of it. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Have I been commissioned to write a new series? The answer is no. Could, you know, these big organizations, they grind along. It's like, it's so slow. You know, if you have a meeting with somebody and it goes well, they say, oh, great, we'll schedule another meeting for, let's see, in 7 weeks' time. And you go, okay. But that's how these big companies operate. You know, they book meetings in months in advance. So at the moment, it's not a no. How about that?
That's wonderful. So let's go a little bit further than that then. Hypothetically, if it was to happen and you'd have several of them meetings 7 weeks apart from each other, as the writer and the creator, where would you see the series perhaps picking up from?
Well, I guess that's another choice. I mean, the last time I spoke to them, I suggested a prequel set in the 1980s, and they seemed quite keen on that. And then the sort of the keenness kind of dissipated over the next few months, and then I never heard from them again. So, you know, who knows? It could be in the form of a special, or it could be in the form of another series, or it could be in the form of a prequel. Probably not a prequel because they've kind of passed on that already. But you know, I'm almost in the dark as much as everybody else, believe it or not.
Would you like to see it come back though, Derren?
I'd like the challenge of having it come back. You know, I've already said if we did it again, what I wouldn't do is a diluted, you know, watered down version of Benidorm, because what's the point of that? Benidorm, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's brash and loud, and it's gonna offend some people on some level, you know, and not massively offend, but you know, we all know the climate we're sort of living in the last few years. It's getting a bit ridiculous. I think we've gone over the brow of the hill, to be honest, on
Hmm.
that. And I think people are sort of saying, "Look, why don't we all just have a laugh again?" Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Yeah,
It's
you
yeah.
couldn't really have Madge Garvey watching a P's and Q's, could you?
no, no, you can't. I nearly swore then. I won't do that. No, you can't have Madge Garvey telling somebody, Harvey, her name is,
Yes.
Yes,
telling
yes.
people to go away politely. It just wouldn't work, really.
No, it
No,
wouldn't. Although
absolutely.
we have seen a lot of the cast are mooting this idea a lot. Of course, we had the original two gorgeous kids that were on Loose Women last week, and they were saying,
Yeah, I was away. I didn't see that, but Hannah called me up, who played Chantal, and she said, "Oh, we've been asked to do was it Loose Women or
yeah,
this morning? Loose Women." And I said, "Oh, great, lovely." And they said, on a sort of like, a reunion kind of thing with her and Ollie, who
yeah,
played Michael. And I said, "Well, that's a great thing." And she, I feel such an idiot because she said, "What do we say if they ask about another series?" And I
Mhm.
say, "You tell them what I know. I'm not sure, And it sounds so wishy-washy. And it also sounds, it's like when actors say, "Well, I've got a few things in the pipeline, but I can't mention them." It's because they're
Yeah.
unemployed. It's because they haven't
yeah.
got anything to go to. It's not
Yes.
it's not like that. If there was more I could tell you, I definitely would. But I don't have anything else to say. But anyway, it seems that it's a show that doesn't go away. It's on Netflix, it's on YouTube, it's on
Mm.
Amazon Prime, it's everywhere. You can't get away from it.
People don't want to get away from it, though. I mean, that must give you immense pride.
What I'll tell you what it does. When I was much, much younger, I used to go to bed and I used to think, right, I'll just have an episode of the royal family. And people say that that's what they do about my show. And it gives
Mhm.
me it's such a feeling of nostalgia and think, my God, is my show on that sort of level where people want to revisit it? And it's been 8 years since it's been on terrestrial TV, and there's a
Wow.
whole new
Mm.
generation. If we did do another series, there's a whole new generation of people. I mean, as I say, I'm very close to Benidorm right now, the town, and I was in Mateo's bar the other night, and a woman said to me, "My granddaughter loves your show." And I said, "Oh, how old's your granddaughter?" She said 6.
Yeah,
I
Mm.
said, "Well, I blame the parents myself."
yeah. No, it had everything in it, didn't it?
Well, it did, and also the stage show was a huge success as
Yeah.
well, wasn't it?
The stage show was such a shock because I started writing the stage show and I realized I was writing a TV episode and I thought, "This isn't right. This isn't right." And so I went. I was in Manchester at the time, actually, and I went to see Miss Saigon at the. Would it be at the Opera House or can't remember?
At the Palace or
At the
whatever. Yeah.
Palace, probably, and then I went to see another musical, in Manchester the next week, can't remember what that was, and I got into a sort of like, a more theatrical frame of mind, and somehow it worked. The best backhanded compliment I ever had was we opened in Newcastle, and I was standing at the back, nervously, in case there was a collection, and, there was a bloke that was coming from the front stalls, and as he passed me, he recognized me, and he said, "Oh, I'll tell you what, it's a lot better than that bloody TV show you do." So
Wow. I mean, you must have kept a lot of stuff from the when you were, creating it, filming it, and all stuff like that. And is it true you're going to be doing an auction now?
yeah, I've got a friend of mine. I've just been sort of I've done what I've always wanted to do in my little bit of sort of downtime between working. I had like a year off basically. Oh my God, I sound like one of the awful students now. I took a year out. I went backpacking around Southeast Asia. When I say backpacking, I didn't have a backpack and it was five-star hotels, but for me, it was
Quite right.
backpacking, and, I went to all over the place: Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. It was incredible, and I met loads of people, really nice, uh, great people. One thing that I've always found, if you go into a bar and you don't know anybody, if you like doing karaoke, you soon meet a lot of friends. Anyway, there was a bunch of us in the Philippines, and one of these guys, Leo, this is about nearly a year ago. It turns out now he's got this really debilitating disease, which is operational, but he lives in the Philippines, and the economy is very, very bleak there. So I'm going to auction all the costumes and props and stuff that I've got, that I've been hoarding for the last 8, 10 years. And if I'm allowed to say, if you go to benidormauction.com, there's
Mm.
details there of soon where you can own Kenneth's vests and Liam's shirts and Joyce's dresses and heaven knows what else.
Ooh.
Oh,
Now, I'd be very keen on getting one of Joyce's jackets.
yes, you
Oh,
would. It would suit
yeah.
you.
There's a
That's
nice
me
yellow
all over
number
that.
that you
Yes,
get called up for the next series of Heidi High with that yellow jacket of Joyce's.
Oh,
I am looking
yes,
forward to all the next series
absolutely.
of
Have to
Benidorm.
fight Sue Pollard for it. Well, I
Yes.
was just thinking, if you want an aging, failing drag queen and her father, do please remember us, love.
Well, I think, do you know what? The key thing I always ask if anybody who wants to be in the Benidorm, I say, you've got to pass a test, unfortunately. You've got to be able to lie on a sunbed with a beer in one hand and a magazine in the other. Is that all right?
That's basically my life, basically.
You're in.
Are there
You
any? This is probably a question you've been asked 1,000 times. I don't know. Is there a particular episode, particular guest star, anything like that that really stands out that you had sort of pinch me moment?
Yeah, I mean, there was a pinch me moment when I was standing at the private airstrip at Alicante Airport waiting for Joan Collins, and as a joke, I had a sign that just said Joan on it. You know, like when people stand with
Yeah, yeah.
people's
Mm,
names like a taxi sort of thing. And that was I turned to my producer and said, "What's going on?" She was landing on in a private jet, and you sort of go, "This is just surreal." But I think the one that really the bit that the guest star that really struck me was Holly Johnson, who, when I was a sort of 13, 14-year-old kid in Hull, I would listen to Culture Club and Frankie Goes to Hollywood and all these amazing bands. And to have Holly Johnson on stage in front of me, this was in a rehearsal. This is before I'd met him. Everybody went to lunch, and Holly asked if he could rehearse his songs. And he sang The Power of Love. And I just sat in Neptune's, as we know it, at the
mm.
back, just and tears were just streaming down my face, and I thought, why is that? And I think I was just sort of catapulted back to Hull when I was 13, which is Hull in 1983 when you're 14 is not a great place, to be honest. It's a great place now, but not when you're 14. And yeah, I think I think that for me was a sort of, but talk about pinch me moments, just standing next to the Crankies waiting to do another take, you just think, "What's going on?"
It's a fabulous life that you've led. We should say Mateo's as well, a beautiful place for people that are interested in the program Benidorm, because that's got a lot of things in there, hasn't it, from the show?
It's got a lot of things in there. I wouldn't say beautiful place, it's rough as dirt, but but
I
it's
thought it
quite.
was 5 star when I went in there.
You're very kind. I
Mhm.
think it's a good play if you like the show. There's a load of stuff sort of jammed in one little bar, and you can sit on Madge's scooter, and you can, you know, uh, take a picture with Mel's leopard skin thong, and you can look at the awards that we've won, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces. There's the joke poo that was in series one that was, if I'm allowed to mention that. Uh,
Yes.
Yes.
Bit off color. I'm sorry about that. I'm
No, I like it.
bringing you down to my level. I'm sorry about that.
It's a
So
very good
yeah,
level to be at.
I've got no other choice. So yeah, it's no, definitely. If you're in Benidorm, yeah, you have to go into Mateo's. It's a good laugh.
Definitely.
Mm.
Just before we let you go, for people that are thinking about going to the Benidorm, actual Benidorm itself, why has Benidorm remained so strong within your heart for so many years?
Well, I suppose because I bought a house about sort of 10 minutes from Benidorm, in during Series 5, because I really like this area. I'm in an area called Alfaz del Pi. It's not very touristy. You've got like Benidorm and Albir and Altea. These are the sort of touristy parts. This is a little sort of Spanish, I can hardly say village, but it's I just love Well, I love the fact that it's not -2 in February. That's what what I love. But yeah, I've stayed here for well, since series 5, whatever that is, 12, 14 years. I don't know. But I'm a
Yeah.
bit of a nomad. I do like, as I said, I've just been around Southeast Asia and I do like to travel. So I think I just need to get fixed somewhere, sit down, buy a dog. That's what I need to do.
Sounds fantastic. For
Very
people
good.
interested in going to look at these auction items, they are available, aren't they?
Yes, just give us that website once again, Derren.
Yeah, it's a kind of a holding page. There's a lot of information there, but it's benidormauction.com. And if you go on there, all the information is there. And check back there in about a week or so, and you'll be able to bid on so many things, props and costumes. I think there should be something for everyone. And also, there's all things like name badges. You remember like the Solana
Oh,
T-shirt?
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
There's loads of things. So, like, not everything is going to go for hundreds of pounds. Do you know what I mean? I think if you
Mm.
want a little bit of Benidorm TV show, I'm sure there's something for seats at all prices. That's what I'm saying.
Love it. Derren, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
You're so welcome. Thanks so much. See you again.
So there we go. We get all the answers that we feel we need.
We do indeed. Yes,
Listen,
we do.
today is quite a celebratory day, isn't it? Or we're rapidly approaching a celebratory day.
Yes, so May the 8th is VE Day. 80 years.
80 years.
80 years.
Since?
Well, victory in Europe.
Ah.
So, which is really nominally the end of the Second World War. It's not quite, because there were different dates on which peace treaties were signed in different countries. And in fact, VJ Day, which was victory in Japan.
Oh, victory in Japan.
So my grandfather fought in Japan and Burma.
Right.
That wasn't really until August.
Right.
So, but anyway, it's all been put together this year for VE and VJ Day commemorations on the 8th of May.
I mean, of course, we are here right now in the heart of Manchester.
Yes.
I'm guessing Manchester was affected by World War II, was it?
Well, in terms of bombing, absolutely. So there were lots of bombs and blitzes here in Manchester. So in the city centre, we had buildings like the Royal Exchange, the Cathedral, were damaged by bombing.
Really?
Manchester United, the stadium there,
that
was so badly bombed that for many years they had to share Main Road with the City.
Oh dear.
And they both played at the same stadium.
Oh no.
And there were lots of bombing in Chorlton, Hume, Trafford, because of course there were lots of munitions and aircraft factories there. And there were the occasional stray bombs. So Oldham, for example, was bombed just a couple of days before Christmas. And that was a stray bomb. That was they dropped the bombs in the wrong place, really.
Oh.
But many thousands of people were killed and or injured in Greater Manchester due to bombing.
Wow. I mean, you just don't think of it. I mean, you think about our lovely city kind of being missed, don't you, really? But
you do, but they could know lots of work here, and of course the docks and all the rest of it. And if you think about it, where our old studio was, just at the end of the road was the hospital, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Salford Royal, which is now apartments. And there's a plaque on the front of there. That was bombed and 14 nurses lost their lives.
Wow. So lots and lots went on within Manchester.
Yes. So we remember that, and we commemorate the end of the war and peace, and remember those people who gave their lives.
Okay. Well, there we are. We've done our bit, and I love the veterans that still do it. I mean, they're getting older and older and older, but they don't seem to lose their spirit.
No.
And it's kind of the spirit that you should have, I believe, within this country that we've kind of lost for a little while.
Yeah, and I think we forget sometimes what the war was about and the part that Britain played in fighting off Nazism.
Indeed. Okay, then let's try and find a segue into our next interview. Of course, you'll recognise him from the Piers Morgan show. And of course, he was a very, very popular host over on Gadio. He joins us now. We're going to speak to James Barr. Welcome to the show, James. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. How are you both? Looking gorgeous.
You are coming to us today from London.
Yes, and I'm in a bandstand, just to add some flavour to the interview.
So, James, you're coming to Manchester this weekend. What can we expect from the show?
Yeah, I'm bringing my show, Sorry I Hurt Your Son, said my ex to my mum, to 53.2 this Saturday. And the show is, well, it's really funny. I mean, any comedian would say that, but it's a show about about a breakup from an abusive ex-partner. And so, as well as being a little traumatic, it is very funny. it's been a real journey performing it all over the UK. But Manchester's a bit of a spiritual home for me, so feels like the right place to do the show. And as a gay man, I was not expecting domestic abuse at all. It's not something that you really expect. You mostly hear those stories in very hard-hitting dramas or documentaries, and that I think made it quite difficult to spot when I was living in it. And so I wanted to tell my story in a comedy show, because I just think we need more access points when talking about domestic abuse. And so as I'm a comedian, it kind of felt like the right place to talk about it.
So James, how do you derive comedy from such a harrowing situation?
Well, I think we always laugh at our trauma, and it is true. If you look back, like even the people that survived the Titanic laughed at their trauma. Not straight away, of course, but later, once their clothes were dry, they did make jokes about it. There was a survivor back in the day that she used to say, they gave us a lot of ice, but not a drop to drink. Obviously, that's not the best joke, but you know, she was a Victorian, and I think I've learned from that it is okay to laugh at the traumatic things that happen to us.
Putting this together then, how much are you thinking about, oh, perhaps I shouldn't say this, or I'm definitely going to say this? I mean, how do you find the balance and the ingredients to make this work as a piece of comedy?
Yeah, I mean, at first, that was very difficult. I didn't know what I was allowed to laugh at. I didn't know what the tone was. I was figuring it out in the moment with an audience. And now I think I'm towing the line right, and I'm never really laughing at what happened, but I think it's the minimizing that is funny. It's the fact that I thought I was just experiencing some kind of admin error and just sort of ignored it and brushed it under the carpet. And I think that's where the humor lies, not in the horror of what happened, but in our sort of inane ability to just minimize terrible things.
You know, you're doing what I think is the most difficult thing to do, to stand up there on your own. How do you find that? Do you find it kind of cathartic, or?
Well, I'm not really alone, actually, because there's an audience as well. So I tend to play off of their energy. And I think a lot of it is, I've learned a lot from performing it with audiences. And I get to watch, as they're watching me, I get to watch them. So I do find that quite entertaining, to be honest. It's kind of fun sitting in the show, watching the audience react to things, and also the fact that I'm making them laugh at stuff they wouldn't normally laugh at.
And just before we let you go, James, of course, we see you do a lot of television at the moment with the wonderful Piers Morgan. How's that all going, and how on earth do you let yourself enter into the lion's den like that?
Well, I mean, yeah, Piers Morgan obviously is an awful guy. He's the sort of man you see at a wedding, shazamming, "I've got a feeling." And it has been challenging working with him, but I think we need to step into conversations that aren't always easy, and we need to try and educate people to understand queer culture a little better. And I think in a way he sort of fancies me. I do think that he has quite a big crush on me. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, listen, he's only human. Or is he? From some of the things he says, sometimes I think not. But I don't mean that. Honestly, off air, like, I think he's fine, you know.
On air?
On air, I would say that he can be challenging, but I think in general, the conversations that show are having are, and bringing all sorts of different people with different views to the table, I think that is important.
We are looking forward to this one. It's going to be at the 53-2.
It is.
It's going to be amazing. Saturday. And we're going to be looking forward very, very much to watching this one. For now, though, James, thank you so much for your time. So there we go, the fabulous James Barr. I'm just looking at these shots.
Yes.
Look at my
what
chin.
are you doing with your neck there?
My chin's looking like a scrotum. I don't know what's going on there, honestly, to be completely honest.
Put me off. I was going to have a cup of tea after, but
You
put
can
me
have
right
some chicken
off.
skin if you want. Now then, absolutely fantastic. We are, for now, though, out of time, everybody. We've got a marvellous show lined up for you next week. Who are we speaking to next week,
Yes,
please?
we are talking...
Yes, it's like you just remembered.
It is. It's like a psychic thing, this. We're talking the Scottish play.
Oh, we are indeed with Hannah Ellis Ryan.
That is correct.
From Her Productions. That's going to be quite amazing. And we've got
Yes.
loads more for you as well. Make sure you're watching and listening to this week's wonderful podcast on Sunday. Make sure you're checking out our lovely, lovely website, www.yourmci. Are you still meant to mention the www?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know if that's an old term or
Does it
not.
mean we're wrestling?
We are the WWF.
Something
Which
like
they
that.
couldn't use because that meant it was the
Well, in
World
America,
Wildlife
it's
Fund.
WWW,
Is it?
Worldwide Wrestling.
Is it? Well, that's
Here we are. We're on there. We're on that website. We're on Tickery Talk, Poppity Pop, and all that. And we've got a new podcast.
We've got a new podcast, Tell the World.
It's for all you Coronation Street fans, but fans of nostalgia, or you want to know the background of the famous show, because it is called, ready, Coronation Street. And you can find it on all those sort of podcast platforms, and we're doing it together, aren't we?
That's right, and coming your way within the next month. In relation to that, we are going to be going audio-visual with our podcast.
Oh, good
as
Lord.
well, which is very
You better
exciting.
hang on, I'll help you do your chin, because we need it then.
Thank you, it needs to be done. For now,
Right.
everybody, thanks for watching this week's episode of
Your Manchester.